And welcome everybody to my fruitless ennui escapism into computerized media, the single most historically accurate and financially lucrative stream on the history of the interwebs. Just don't fact check me on that. I am your Queen of Games champion, Juniper Waverly Crow, and we have a pretty solid show today. We are going to be reviewing episodes 1 of 7 Deadly Sins, and Gossick, as well as doing some more Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. I'll be playing some more Crystal Beasts. So let me slide over to the new anime reviewing layout. Have a sexy-ass slideshow that is copyright free behind me, so that way I do not get mega banned forever. But this is my first time seeing both of these shows. So I've never seen 7 Deadly Sins before. I have specifically avoided it at all costs, because every single solitary iota of information I have ever been given about it has dramatically suggested I would fucking hate it. So you might be asking yourself, if you're watching this in the archive on YouTube, Juniper, why the fuck are you watching a show if you think you're gonna hate it? To make matters worse, I also don't really like shonen, so you might also be wondering why the fuck I'm watching a shonen. And that is a very good question. And I'm not gonna answer that. Hello! How the fuck do I pronounce your fucking name? Hugh Ho Hunt Salone. I'm pretty sure that's wrong. Thank you so much for joining the stream. He who hunts alone, I'm fucking stupid. Jesus Christ, I have no reading comprehension skills for a bitch who is about to watch something that's all subtitles. Cringe name. That's okay, you're allowed. Thank you for stopping by the stream. Just getting started on this fucking review. And you're right, memes are important. Ironic is 90% of why I do fucking everything. So I started this fucking anime. No opening, it's the first episode. We haven't earned the right to see what the opening is like yet. It was very fun because they had to tell me that Netflix made this like 800 times. I didn't watch this on Netflix, so that was fun. We have a bunch of knights bullshitting. I don't know these people. I don't know if they're going to be important. I'm assuming they're not. They say some bullshit about holy knights to hype them up, because no anime can go 2 seconds without throwing a vague term at you to arbitrarily hype it up for the future. Sometimes it's done good. It wasn't done good here, because 2 seconds later they find a shit ton of various corpses that were then killed by 7 people. We're then given a random brick of info dumping about, not a lot of info dumping, I'm saying info dumping, but this is like 2 seconds, it just changes screens to like a fucking narrator voice, and I'm pre-prepped for this to be a thing that's gonna take 10 to 15 minutes of my fucking life, but it's actually like maybe a minute. And basically all it's like is, yeah, holy knights equal cops. These 7 people, They left those people. They're evil now. 7 evil people. 7 Deadly Sins. That's the anime name. There's a title of the show. There you fucking go. Are you invested yet? I'm not, but that's because I'm pretentious. Normal people probably, I guess. I would hope, because that's what this is trying to market itself towards. Regardless, I've already spent too long on the first 10 seconds of this show. They go on a rant about how this is a magical world with knights and fantasy shit. So I'm like, okay, chill. That's easy to comprehend. We get a shitty bar scene with a bunch of like generic anime tropes. Nothing's like too loud. It's just like, hey, here's just a bunch of people drinking and telling you about the setting, and they eat the food and the food sucks, and they're like, how dare you have shitty food? And he's like, that's the bit, and I'm the audience, and I'm like, that's a shitty bit. And it does a thing here, because it does this food bit a lot, where basically, main protag bitch, who they haven't told me the name yet, this far into the episode. I learned later they're Melodious, but they didn't tell me that yet. Basically, blonde bitch is running a bar, and the 2 gags about that is that he's underage to be running a bar, and his food sucks. This bit is like set up to the normal generic anime gag where person eats things and then they do the loud anime reaction where they're like, "Arr!" and they get like different art style about it, and someone yells shit in Japanese. It's decent mid-tier gag that would be in any fucking anime. A problem I have with this gag is more a problem I have with most of the gags in this episode. I don't know if this is going to be a thing for the whole show. I'm assuming it is, because this it's not giving me hope for the future or for humanity, but it does this gag and most gags in this episode with little to no energy. Like, they're technically yelling and reacting about things happening, but nobody's... The way they do the animation is very stoic. They're animating everything they have to, but they're not really changing up the art style or having anything be cartoony or overreactive enough. So a lot of these gags don't really hit. They don't really have enough sound cues or enough build for any of them to be good. They just kind of fall flat for me. If this was done in maybe, like, One Piece, for example. One Piece is really cartoony as fuck. So a lot of dumb, tropey gags in One Piece usually hit a little harder because the way they do the art is a little more obnoxious. That being said, mid-tier is fuck gag anyway, so probably wouldn't get a laugh regardless. They complain, so they get mad at the food, they throw it on the floor, they then do a very big cue for the fucking giant talking pig to walk up, and the pig talks about how it's here to clean this and it shouldn't have to do it. That's another gag that's going to be done way too much in this fucking episode. This pig's name is Hawk. I only know its name is Hawk because it tells me every 2 seconds it's on screen. And every 2 seconds this fucking pig is on screen. It is either telling us that its name is Hawk, and whichever character just referred to it should know that its name is Hawk, mentioning that it is in fact a pig, or mentioning pork or something pig-related, or it is once again mentioning that it is the cleanup crew. These are the only 3 attributes you will learn about this pig in this episode, and it will remind you more than you will hear probably anything else about the plot. What is the plot? That's a good question, because we move from this, and they flash to a bunch of wanted posters while every single person in the bar still hasn't shut up about the 7 deadly sins yet, because remember, that's the plot. I didn't remember, because I have problems. So thank you for assuming I'm stupid. So they flashed all these wanted posters, and the first thing I notice is that not a single solitary one of these wanted posters is even vaguely done in the art style of this anime. They basically, it's somewhere in these slides. If we wait long enough, it will play. I probably should have had a separate thing for it if I was going to gesture to it. But, hey, thank you so much for the follow. Hella appreciates. Dramatically appreciates. Also reminding me I need to get a custom thing for that. You gorgeous being. But they flash to these wanted posters, and none of these are in the art style of the anime. I mean, you can see from, except that mustache guy above me. But pretty much basically every bitch in this show, regardless, is like the most round character. It's like they looked at Steven Universe and like Cal art style in America, and they're like, let's make that but anime. Everything is rounded dramatically. And the way they drew the wanted posters kind of looks more like something out of fucking Fist of the North Star. Maybe not exactly, but it looks more akin to that or JoJo or some shit than it does anything that would realistically be drawn on this fucking show. So immediately, you know that not a single one of these bitches is going to actually look like that by the time they fucking show up. That or this is going to be the weirdest clash of fucking art in a fucking show. And that ends up being right by the end of the episode. Because fucking spoiler alert, one of them's the protag. But fucking more bitching about 7 deadly sins. We have some bitch in armor clinkety-clacketing into the fucking bar and everyone's spooked because they said the word 7 deadly sins. And that is enough for them to assume either this is one of them or they are arriving. So they all run. And then armor person falls over, their helmet rolls off, and then surprise reveal, it's a hot chick. Because, you know, of fucking course it is. Why wouldn't it be? It's an anime. If they don't have a hot bitch to sell figurines, then they're not gonna make it. So, you know, fucking... They take them to a bed to nurse them back to health, and then we get another generic anime gag of Melodious, soon to be named Melodious, molesting the fuck out of this person. It is important. This is generic trope in anime, so I don't want to make fun of them too hard for doing this shitty trope. So I will grade this on a curve. This is not done in a big, wah, slapsticky, dramatic way. Because Melodious is very casually molesting this person. They're very much like, yup, uh-huh. And then they wake up and they're like, uh-huh. And then Melodious is like, yup, your heartbeat's good. And they're like, well, thank you for saving me. And he's like, yup, chill. Want to see my broken sword? So none of this is done slapsticky. This isn't done cartoonily. This isn't like Sanji in One Piece shooting out fucking blood out of his nose and flying off, or doing something really fucking cringe and loud. This isn't like 80s, 90s anime bullshit shenanigans where it's lying in your face. There's not like a weird Kiana slap. This is done very, very just stoic and quiet and bland and straightforward. It's like they wanted to get the gag in, but they wanted to get past the gag as fast as physically possible. Which on one hand, I mean good, because Jesus Christ, do I not want to waste time on shitty generic anime gags, because I don't even like it when anime I like does that. It's annoying. So I mean, like, that's good, but also that if this could have possibly been funny, it's triple decker not funny now, because it's like you put the gag in and then you don't have the moxie to actually try to make it into something. It's like you're embarrassed that you're doing a cringe anime thing halfway through. On the bright side, it kind of helps the pacing, because this whole fucking episode just feels like they're just trying to get through the episode. It doesn't feel like this anime's proud of itself, so it's just kind of going. Feels flat. Doesn't feel like it has energy that is consistent the whole episode. Only saving grace so far, and by the end of the episode, is that it at least, the pacing was fine. It got through shit quickly. I will thank them for that. We get them out of the bed, into the bar, another shitty food gag. It's not funny, nobody laughs, the characters don't laugh. Then she cries because she's like, somebody's being nice to me, thank goodness. So now us as the audience is like, well, this bitch has trauma we're gonna hear about sometime within the episode or next one. So then a fucking bunch of holy knights fucking come over because they're like, we're gonna arrest that armor person. And fucking something about arresting seven deadly sins or something. I don't fucking know. I was taking notes because I'm an idiot. So they fucking do a shitty gag where they have the fucking pig come out in the armor, and the pig reminds you that not only are they a pig, and not only are they here to clean up the mess, but also their name is Hawk. They make sure to fit that gag in. Even though the introduction of this is a gag that they're the knight, they still re-mention their name is Hawk after. Because it's funny that they're mad when people get their name wrong, I guess. I don't know. They do all three of the pig gags again. It's not funny. The chick runs off to escape being arrested. All the people chase her to then arrest her. Melodious follows because he's like, I don't want this chick to get arrested. For his investment is for reasons unknown. He also molests her for reasons that are not explained. So, you know, this character's motivations are dramatically not explained yet. But it's the first episode. It's more important to fit in, you know, molestation and mediocre pig gags. So, anyway, that's to the point. But right before we get a thing that I'll call it the shonen showcase, because this is a trope that's in every single fucking shonen. There's probably a real term for this, because anime fans are nerds and have been writing fucking blogs since the dawn of the internet, so I'm sure there's a term for this already. I don't know it. I'm uneducated, I suppose. But it's the thing in shonen anime, where every fucking shonen anime has a bunch of characters just endlessly either hype up or downplay the main protag. The whole point is it's just a bunch of bitches either saying how this person is so strong or this person is so weak they'll never do anything, something. Just a bunch of mindless bitches going and going and going, and the inevitable payoff is you have the big protag show up and do a big giant flex to show how they are the big strong, so every single fucking 13-year-old watching this could be, wow, they are the big strong, wow, that is either contrary to the thing I just heard, or dramatically affirming the thing I just heard. You know, it's the same thing they did in One Piece. And after the time skip, they had Luffy do a big thing where he just beat a bunch of random bitches, and they're like, oh, he's destroying the pacifistas, which at this point in the show, you were like, those are so big and strong. That's a little different, because that's like halfway through the series. They did in Fairy Tail, which... Ironically, I hate Fairy Tail, but Fairy Tail did it better than Seven Deadly Sins. Fairy Tail did it where they were hyping up the mysterious salamander forever, and they had a guy who was fake being the salamander, and it was like, oh, and then by the end of it, like, fucking Natsu's like, it's me, I am the salamander, and then he kicks everyone's ass, and they're like, oh, he's the big strong. So, you know. The Shonen Showcase, the basic bitches say a bunch of dialogue so you can see how big and strong your main guy is later. They do that. They say a lot, hyping up the Seven Deadly Sins and all that shit. They start chasing them. Fucking checking my notes here. I got lost a little bit. Yeah, okay, so they're all chasing them through the woods, and I actually forgot about this. You have the fucking pig, Hawk. I better not forget his name. They tell me it so many times. I have no fucking excuse. Hawk just beats the shit out of every knight. And I'm not talking like comes up and there's an epic. They just very casually like schnoz bounce every single knight off a fucking cliff. These are the single worst knights in the history of anime. Jesus Christ, you were defeated by a gag pig in a collective couple seconds. I don't know why you were even here. Who hired you? This is embarrassing. So they're all just immediately defeated by this fucking pig. Then he fondles the chick again, because of course they do. And then naturally what you do when you're molested is you give people an exposition dump on your trauma. And, you know, bunch of shit happens. She's apparently a fucking one of the three princesses. Her name's Elizabeth. She says some shit. There's a whole conspiracy with the fucking Holy Knights trying to start this whole fucking war, and she's basically looking for the Seven Deadly Sins because they are the big strong, and despite their evil reputation, they are assuming because they are the big strong and mighty, and because they kinda already have beef with the Holy Knights, that they could maybe beat the shit out of the Holy Knights. And their plan was to wander around in armor and just kind of bump into them, I guess. I don't know. I'm a Be Real fan. I don't know how they expected this plan to work. It clearly should not have worked, but because it's an anime and we're getting this exposition, and I already spoiled for anybody watching this that they told it to Melodious, the plan works, obviously. It's an anime, right? So, they give you all this exposition. Evil mustache guy shows up. He's also one of the night cop bitches, and he's the mustache guy. He was on one of the slides above, and this guy severs off a slice of cliff. They somehow leap away, getting back onto the cliff, and it begins a chase scene where this guy is like, look at me, I am the big strong, unlike all of my weird goons who were just defeated by a pig. He is just rapidly just causing mass deforestation, just murdering trees brutally, and somehow missing both of the protagonists, until eventually, after face planning for the 100th time, Elizabeth decides to just give herself up so she doesn't kill this poor fucking bar owner she just met 2 minutes ago. This is the one reasonable reaction a character has had at any point in this episode. And then, fucking blonde protag stops them. Basically revealing that they are Melodious. They are indeed one of the 7 deadly sins you have heard mentioned at least 76.5 times in this episode. And he doesn't match the wanted poster. Why does he not match the wanted poster? Because they really wanted to do this gag at the beginning of the episode with the reveal. They just really wanted to do that. So because of that, artists can't draw on this show. They might explain it later. I'm on episode 1. Currently, there's no explanation. Mustache guy is like, what? You're Melodious. Oh no, you're like you were back then. He's like, yeah, and then he takes out his broken sword, and I guess the broken sword has some sort of vague broken sword energy, because you see, he is Melodious, the big strong. So because he is the big strong, he swings the broken sword, and through vague energy shit, we zoom out and you see a dust explosion, because his energy just did that. It just exploded, and then you see Mustache Guy fly through the air like fucking Team Rocket, and the episode ends. That's it. That's the whole episode. It's done now. It sucked. That's my review of this episode. It sucked. this whole episode was just sucking the dick of how spooky and strong the seven deadly sins were. And when they finally revealed the protag was one of them, instead of giving us a cool fight scene or a cool fight moment, all they did is do a zoom out and show a dust cloud. I don't know how that was supposed to be hype. If you were intelligently writing this, you could have done a really flashy something of animation. And even if you didn't want to do a whole fight scene, you could have just done something creative, or at least something visually impressive to display the strength of this character. They gave us a dust cloud. It just was like poof, and the character team rocketed away. That doesn't give me anything to be invested. That is in practically every anime that has ever existed. Not only that, I also have no reason to believe this mustache man is strong. I saw him cut down a bunch of trees, but there's a thing in shonen called power scaling. And you power scale everything on a curve based on everything else you see. So a bitch cutting down a tree wouldn't matter in Dragon Ball Z, because in Dragon Ball Z, the bar is Goku. Like, you have to blow up a planet to at least be worth talking about in Dragon Ball Z. So, like, I don't know how strong cutting a tree makes you in this anime. They have done nothing to imply how strong that might be. So I have no reason to care, and I don't care that he was just sent flying by Melodius. So that was, dramatically unpleasant episode. Did not enjoy a second of it. It was boring. It was bland. Did not hype up the protagonist well. It did not make them endearing. The only things I know about Melodius is he is an entrepreneur for reasons unknown. He is very strong for reasons I'm sure will be explained at some point. And he doesn't understand the concept of consent, which, in his defense, is pretty normalized in anime, so I will at least say that leaves you at a chaotic neutral by anime standards. Either way, I have no reason to care, and I have no reason to care about Elizabeth, and this episode